One of the things that's rough about putting yourself out there in public all the time is that if you get a haircut.
Oh, I see you brushed it aside a little bit.
Well, here's so the last time we recorded, that morning I had gotten a haircut. I think everybody noticed. I don't put a lot of time and effort into the hair. I go to Supercuts and it's like $25, and you get like a tattooed 23-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
And when they ask me, what do you want? I always freeze up. I'm like, just a haircut. I don't know. But the cadence is about once every 3 months, I'd say I go in. And so I let it get a little floppy. But I learned that what has worked in the past is closer on the sides and leave a little on top, because I'm no James, but I'm getting older, and
it's getting thinner up there,
Yeah, so don't take it all off on the top. And I think that they sometimes take this too seriously, and so they end up leaving you with like a little too much here and a little too less there. And some of the feedback I was hearing, like some people were saying like bowl cut and stuff. I'm like, well, it definitely is not a bowl cut. But the funniest things that people said were that I looked like Lloyd Christmas. Like, fuck you. And our friend Sam posted a picture of Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder. But there's something about like the first day, like we all know this, right? Like the first day you get the cut, it doesn't look right.
There's too harsh edges everywhere.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about Supercuts. Fuck Supercuts. All right, so one time I went to Supercuts because it was cheap and like my hair's not too complicated.
Right.
But what this is, I swore off Supercuts from this point on. They separated my beard from my hair. Like she took the razor and went and it made a separation, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't want to yell at a 23-year-old tattooed person.
Well, that's the trouble too, is like there's them doing a bad job. And then on the other hand, there's just the fact that like when you change your appearance in any kind of way, like I think like humans, like that whole thing about when you read, you're not actually reading every letter, and for that matter, you're not even reading every word. You're reading like groups of words. Like a lot of the way we take in the world is through like pattern recognition, and so I think we do like we profile each other. We're like, Frankie Frayne looks like this. And I can really wig somebody out by losing 100+ pounds.
Oh, yeah,
shaving
a pandemic
and shaving a beard, but at least like that's dramatic enough that they can like build a new sometimes I'll hear people will be like, I went back to old Box Max and I saw Fat Frankie and it was really weird. And then I watched so much Box Mac that Thin Frankie's weird. So,
yeah. Well, I heard something a woman said that's like, you either have to commit to wearing makeup every day.
Yeah.
Or you don't wear makeup at all, because if you wear makeup every day and then suddenly you come in without, they'll be like, "Are you sick? What's going on?"
Yeah, that's true. And so I'm very sympathetic to that, and I see that in action all the time. For that matter, like I'm the kind of person that wears like the same like 8 or 9 outfits all the time, and so like God forbid, like I get a new shirt, people are like, because I'm like such a creature of habit. But I will say, I think my advice to myself and to all others would be like, for instance, with this makeup thing, like just power through it. Like it just, if you want to change something about yourself, just do it and survive the tidal wave of like what I know when they say like in this case, I admit that the hair looked stupid in that recording, but other times where it's just like a generic haircut, like there's nothing to say about the haircut. People will be like, nice haircut, but what they're really saying is change. Change. I see a change. And they have to say it out loud for some reason. I think it's a way for them to process it.
Yeah. The other thing is just like comments about appearances like fingernails. Like when I'm doing some of these soldering videos and I'm using a macro lens and I feel like things just look bigger. Yeah. Like if I looked at my fingernails, they wouldn't be long, but under the macro lens, they look like terrifyingly long somehow.
I feel like I don't like that's the sort of thing I don't notice. Like I go through life like filtering out a lot of that kind of like cosmetic stuff. And you know, at some point in my development, my brain was like irrelevant. Like don't look. And yeah, everybody else, it's like it seems to take up like 90% of their periphery.
And another thing I did recently, so I released that smoker video recently.
Yeah, great video.
And I had I'm starting to get gray hairs in my beard.
Nice.
But one of them was it just like all of a sudden, like I just went straight out like this, and was really long and wiry. And not only that, it was backlit by one of my arcades. And so I did a whole take with this, and I was like, would people notice? Would people notice that long wiry hair? And I started editing. I'm like, I can't stand it. So I recorded the whole thing again.
Wow. People will say something.
I plucked it out. I plucked the fucking thing out, because I didn't notice it was there. Because it was long. It was long, wiry, and it was backlit with like the red light from these arcade buttons. But I just didn't want to get the comment. You know,
yeah. The whole video, all that hard work, everything that you thought, you know, the whole video will be about that.
Because it's like I'm talking about my uncle and there's this fucking wiry.
Yeah, I have one overzealous hair on my eyebrow, this right eyebrow. It's currently plucked, but it'll be back. And for some reason, it kind of like it like turns to plastic like pretty quickly. It's one eyebrow, and honestly, I kind of like it feels good like to mess with. And sometimes I don't really want to pluck it. I kind of want.
Oh yeah, I got one of those. I got one of those on my eyebrow. It's a longer one. It's a longer wild one, and I'll twist it. Yeah, it's nice.
Feels good.
It feels good to twist those mutants.
Those little things that make you special. And I when I was, I don't know when about in my life, but I at some point in my life I decided, you know what would be best is to not really ever mention the way someone looks to them. I won't bring it up. I'm not going to compliment you on the way you look. I'm not going to insult you on the way you look. To me, like we're all just trying to put ourselves together every day, and weight is up and weight is down. And like, it's probably just best to like, we don't need to talk about how each other look, do we? You know, unless we're dating or something, and we're not. You know, so
that is really true. I do that as well, but that's because I'm just like self-absorbed and don't care about anyone else.
Well, I think it's a good area to be self-absorbed in. You know, like you'll see people like try to make a compliment, it turns bad, and I just watch from the sidelines, going like, "What are you doing? You didn't have to say anything." Like, true. Oh, you're fat. I thought you were pregnant. I'm like, how'd you end up in this situation?
Oh, haircut. 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 Haircut.
Squirrel. There's a lot of stupidity out there, but fair enough. I looked like Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah, you're like channeling like a problem child or whatever.
Yeah, it really undermines anything I was trying to say in that whole episode.
That's why I plucked that fucking hair and recorded again.
I don't know. I am sure on the day I tried to be like, is it normal yet? You know, but it can't.
I didn't notice because I'm not going to comment because I'm self-absorbed.
That's what makes you a good friend. One thing that's cool about supercuts, I'll talk about my dentist too, actually. I don't like, I've gone there a million times, and well, that's not true. There was a long time. There was somebody in the, like this one hair cutter in the mall that like 6 or 7 years ago did a good job. And so I kept going for her, right? Cause you make appointments. And at some point she like moved to another place. So I was like, okay, I'll go to that place. And then she was like, no, I quit that fucking place. Or I think she got fired. She was shitty. And so then I ended up in like a texting relationship with her where I had to follow, like, cause she rented her own chair.
Oh, wow.
And I had to follow her to her own chair. And then then she'd be like, oh, I don't really like want to work today when it was convenient for me. And I did eventually ditch her because Supercuts opened in Fall River at the South Coast Marketplace. So I started going there. And I don't know, after a few times, one of them was like, and would you like a hot towel? And I was like, a hot towel? And then they walked up to me with this steaming hot towel. and they put it over my neck, and it felt so good. I was like, I got to do this at home. I got to steam up a towel and just stick it on my neck.
You get the towels out, Nina. Nina,
baby, want to get the towels out tonight?
Can you sit on some towels for me?
And then, yeah, as you get older, that's really, what's the meme? Sex is great, but have you ever had a hot towel? And at my dentist, which I have been at I go 4 times a year. They, the last time I had somebody, they were like,
would you like a hot towel?
Well, kind of. They were like, do you want to turn the massager on? And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah. And they turn on, like, my chair has like a massage function. And then they were like, would you like lavender scent all around you? And I was like, yes. Sure.
Yes.
So they threw a bunch of, I was like, that way I don't smell like my rotting teeth or whatever. And then so they put the lavender, and then this one actually made the difference. The other two, I think, were, luxuries. This one, I was like, you know what? This is a good idea. They were like, would you, because you have to look up at the light the whole time, the lamp. They're like, we have like a pair of sunglasses we can stick on you. And I was like, do it. Some shades or whatever. And what was genius about that is, I'm a social enough guy, and what, I've had long conversations with my hygienists, but some days I don't want to. And some days I don't really want to like dig for content to talk to them about. And plus I got a mouthful of hands. And so when your eye contact isn't available, you're not available. You're just gone. So it was great. I recommend it. Like, show up in there with those cataracts things.
I get that with the hair cutter too. It's like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to.
Especially with prompts like, what are you going to do today? So any plans for today? I'm like, well, haircut. Hopefully a good one, but probably not.
Probably not. Not from you. Did you just graduate like salon school? What do you?
Well, yeah. So often when I do end up socializing, I find out a lot about their lives.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.